Hi guys, let us understand today what is JavaScript. As we know, like we are having a HTML and HTML is having some drawback as we know, right? So if we talk about HTML, look at here. This hypertext markup language is having some problem. Like as we can say one thing like it is a flat language which just help us to make a design of the web page, right? It helps us to form the layout of the web page, but it never talk about some programming construct, right? So this JavaScript gives the power to HTML by providing some kind of programming tools. Okay, so programming tools like we are having if else construct, while loop, for loop, right? Declaring variables, some types. Exactly, there's no data type in JavaScript, but there are some like a string, number, and all. So that will help us to handle some kind of data and how to read the data from the HTML tag and do some job. How to validate the form which has been designed in HTML. So this guy will really help us to HTML to make a dynamic page and if some event occurs like mouse click and some key pressed or mouse drag, if you want to render some event, okay, JavaScript will help you. Well, so let us understand in details. So first we understand what is the purpose and importance of JavaScript as I just discussed to you. List the different ways to include JavaScript code in HTML, state the basic of the JavaScripting programming and compare between JavaScript and Java. Compare between server-side JavaScript and client-side JavaScript. Okay. Now let us understand the scripting language. There are a number of scripting languages we are having. Like if we talk about the server side and client side, on the server side we are having like ASP. Okay, and we can say JSP, Cold Fusion. Well, so you can see there's three. Even there are some other scripting we have which help us to write dynamic component on the server side which help us to make a dynamic web page. Okay, this is from the Sun Microsystem, this is from the Microsoft, you know. And if we talk about the client side scripting, we are having JavaScript, JScript, and VBScript. Actually there is a ECMA script which is developed by the ECMA, European Computer Manufacturer Associations. Okay, and this script was initially developed by the Netscape when Netscape 2.0 browser was developed. Later it has become popular by JavaScript and JScript and VBScript is from the Microsoft. Similarly, there are some other scripting which help us to validate the client side. Now, what is the need for client-side scripting? Client-side scripting is required for the following. A script that is executed by the browser on the user's computer. Instead of the entire page, part of the page is sent to the browser when user requests for the page. Mostly run in the response to an event. Direct interaction with client. Okay, it helps us to also respond for the events and validations. Like if some request is made by the user and if user is entering some data, that data may be wrong And that data, if it is going to the server and validating and then saying it is wrong, it's time consuming, right? So rather than requesting for a small things again and again to server, it's not a good idea. So that page is having enough code which can validate the user's input. Okay. So these are the validations part which we can easily do with the JavaScript. And if any events occur on the page, that can be also controlled by the JavaScript, that we can write the code. So you can see the JavaScript is developed by the Netscape, support the most of the browser. Even there are some incompatibility, but JavaScript supported by most of the browser helps to create dynamic page, to design the page according to the appropriate browser on which it would be viewed. You do not require access to web server, okay? And it could be interactive, scripted, not compiled. So if you're writing some JavaScript, the code will get interpreted by browser itself. You need to compile it. It's very powerful, and it is object based. It is not object oriented like as we have Java, C++, C Sharp. So it is object based. So there is some inbuilt and inbuilt objects are there which you can use, and you can call the methods of that object and you can perform some functionality on that. It is a cross platform because it is a browser stuff. It is a client and server. So you can write the script on the client for client or on the server side also. So I hope you understood this all features of JavaScript. What JavaScript cannot do. So if you're trying, what it can do, let us understand this first and then it cannot do, okay? So JavaScript gives HTML designers a programming tool. JavaScript can put dynamic text into a HTML page. JavaScript can react to events. JavaScript can read and write HTML elements. And JavaScript can be applied to validate data, right? So we understood this all very basic idea. And JavaScript can be applied to detect the visitor browser. So you can also get the code, or if you can write the code, that what kind of browser your client is using. You can come to know accordingly, you can render the page in the browser, right? So you can detect it through the JavaScript code. So there's our navigator object which help us to get those visitor browser details. And JavaScript can be applied to create cookies also. Well, so these are the things which we can do easily with JavaScript. Okay. What JavaScript cannot do? When you need to access other resources like files, okay, programs, you want to connect with database, this guy cannot do. It cannot interact with your local files, local programs, or some kind of database. So don't try to write some database connectivity code here. So when you're applying sensitive or copyrighted data or algorithm, you must be knowing one major thing, that your JavaScript code is open to the public. Okay. Anyone can open the browser and say view source. They can get all the code which you have written in JavaScript. Now let us understand the difference between Java and JavaScript. Okay. So as I said, JavaScript is developed by the Netscape, while Java is from the Sun microsystem and now it is from the Oracle, right? So it is based on the object-oriented concept. No, it is based on it is object-based actually, but Java is object-oriented. Well, and JavaScript is scripting language that is parsed and executed by the parser. Okay, but Java, first you have to compile it and then you have to execute it. So Java is compiled and interpreted, while JavaScript is interpreted by the Browser is having some parser for that, right? JavaScript must run inside a web page on a web browser. Web browser must be compliant to the JavaScript. Okay, so there are some compatibility. Or with Java, you can develop a standalone application. You can develop web-based application, but this script will always work in the browser only, right? Now the question is where I can write the JavaScript code and how we can write it. Okay, there are several places we are having for writing the code of JavaScript. One, you are having head section in your HTML page or body section in your HTML page. So inside the head, you can say a script open and a script close. In between, you can write the whole code. Okay. Similarly, inside the body, you can say a script open and a script close and write the some kind of statement inside the script. Another, it is a embedded inline. So you can write along with the tag also. So input type button. So this is one input is a tag type equal to button and say on click JavaScript alert. So this code is a JavaScript code which is written along with the tag, right? You understood? In a head, in a body, and along with the tag that is called inline. External references. What you can do, you can make some .js file where you put all the coding of JavaScript, and then in the HTML page, just say script src equal to this, and the whole the code will come to your page, and it will work with that. Now there's a comments in JavaScript. If we want to comment certain lines, just a single line, you can just say slash slash. Okay. If you want to comment multiple line, then you can say slash star and a star slash, and you can in between this, right, you can write multiple line and that will get commented. Okay. Programming rules. JavaScript is a case sensitive, you have to remember, keep it in mind. Ending statements with a semicolon is optional. So every statement you can have a semicolon in the end, but it's optional. Open and close braces for scoping the embedded JavaScript code is mandatory. So you must open the braces, which must close it, which you have opened. You can apply more than one script in the same HTML file. So you can write a script open close, a script open close, and in between you can write uh, multiple codes, right? So I hope you understood this rules you have to remember. Okay. Now JavaScript language concepts. JavaScript language construct. Look at here. We are having say values, kind of variables, literals, like as we have in a program or in some programming language. Here also we have some concept of declaring variables, literals. Okay, some values, constant values and all. Expressions and operators is there. Regular expressions, statements, functions, all we can do here in JavaScript also. That programming construct like if else construct and while do while. Okay. Now look at here, values, variables, and literals. So if we talk about the values, so JavaScript does not have a explicit data type. First of all, if you remember, you must remember that. So there's no way of specifying that particular variable represents an integer, string, or real. Okay. The same variable may be interpreted differently in different contexts, and all JavaScript values are declared applying the keyword var. It is optional if it is global variable, you need to write var. If it is a local variable, you have to say var x. So consider if I just say here var, Let us say here, if I write here var x equal to 1, it's fine. It restore it. But if I say x equal to hello, it is also good because there is no data type, right? If I later say x equal to 9.57, it is also fine. X equal to true, so we're not having any data type here. But you can store the value, and there are some stuff which help you to convert these values to certain type. So JavaScript recognizes the following types of values: numbers, logical like true or false, strings, hello or something, right? And the null. So you can have some numbers, could be the floating values also that you can store. So there's no certain data type. You just declare a variable and store the values, whatever type of values you want to store in that. Okay. So JavaScript identifies a name must start with a letter or underscore. I written var x. So that x variable name which we have given must have a certain rule, must have a convention. The convention which is listed here, right? And if you are talking about the variable, we call it identifier also, right? So that variables or identifier must start with a letter or underscore. After that, subsequent character could be 0 and 0 to 9. As because JavaScript is a case sensitive, so later include the characters A through Z, uppercase and the characters lowercase all. You have to take care of that, okay? And variable scope, the variable which you have declared could be local and global. If you are declaring inside the function, it is local. If it is outside, it is a global. So applying this var keyword to declare a global variable is optional. If you are declaring some variable outside the function, okay, and outside the function, if you don't say var, it is good, not a problem. But once you're writing some variable inside the function, you must say var variable name and the value, okay. Now values, we have to understand more here. You can see the integer letters can be expressed in decimal, hexadecimal and octal. All these type of values could be the integer letters. You can see this value 462. This is a hexadecimal, right? Negative value. So this is what value we can store in the variable. Object literal. An object literal is a list of 0 or more pairs of property names and associated values of an object enclosed in a curly braces. Okay. And you can see here some string letters like hello, Tom, whatever the value we are having in double quotes, it is a string letters, right? Good. I hope you understood the values, variable and letters, right? Now, so you can see variable we can write like this. These all are the valid variables. Data types could be some this kind of values, string, null, number and true or false, right? We can use operators like these are the operators. Control statement like if else and so on, like for, while loop, all we can use here. And the keywords, we are having var, true, false, new, return. These are the keywords in JavaScript. Okay, we'll use in between the coding. Now user defined function in JavaScript. How we can make a function here? So following is the syntax. You can see function name and the argument here. So we have a function keyword here, okay, and then function name, and you can have these parameters. You need not to say int var because there's no data type here. Just say var1 var2 or a comma b comma c. If you're having return, then this function has a return type. If you're not having return, then this function will not return anything, right? So it is optional. It depends on the function type which you have defined there. So the return statement is applied to specify the value that is returned from the function. Clear? And this will hold whatever like the data or logic required for that function. You have to write that body. You can say conditional statement if else here. If we talk about if else construct, it is normal if else construct which we have in a program. You can notice here that we are writing here say if condition true, do this job, right? Else condition false, do this job, right? So this is my if else construct. If we are having multiple, so if condition true, okay, do this. Else, again check. If condition 2 is true, then do this. Else, do this code. So this is if else construct which we can use in JavaScript. It is normal. It is used in some other programming also, right? It is very similar to that. Now there's a switch construct also here. So switch n. So we have a case 1, case 2 like default and all, like normally as we have with other language. So if this n value is 1, okay, execute this code and say break. So break means it will come here automatically, right? If n value is 2, then do this code and say break, come back here. If I say n equal to 3 and I don't have case 3, in this case what will happen? Default will run and say run this code and come to here. Okay. Well, so we understood the if else construct and switch case construct. Next you can see here for loop. It is very normal. So here we are having one variable, right? And then we are saying int value equal to start value. Some value I have to give, some say I equal to 0. I just write one loop here. If you say for, I just write int I equal to 0 and I say I less than 5 and I say I plus plus, and I just say document dot write what hello. So this line will display, I mean hello will display 5 times in the browser. See, if it is HTML you have to write 5 times this hello, right? But here I am saying document.write hello and run this loop 5 times. So this is my initialization, this is the condition, and this is what? Increment. So it will start the loop and say come to here, run this code, come back again I plus plus, it is 1, 1 less than 5, yes, run this code again. So it will keep going 5 times. Once I will become 5 less than 5, no. So come to here. So this is a for loop which is applied when you know like in advance that how many times the script should run, right? I want to execute 10 times. Okay, you can use that. Even we are having while loop and do while. So if I say while, the same condition you can use here. There's a little difference here. I say int. I say here, sorry, here we don't have int and all, right? So simply you can write here what? I just rub this. Now come to here. Here since we don't have any data type, so simply you can write here var x equal to 0. Okay. And inside that you can say while x less than equal to 5, suppose. And here say x plus plus, keep increasing, and write some code here which you want to repeat it that 5 times. So what will happen? First value will declare. It will check the condition whether value of x is less than 5 or not. Then run this code. Increase. So x will become 1. Now again it will check. Keep running the code. So like this. Okay. If we talk about do while, same we can write here also. Say var x equal to 0. And here I say do. So we are not checking the condition. Do some statement. So do this job. And then say x plus plus. Okay. And then I will say while x less than 5. So here we are not checking condition first. We are saying this variable, but okay, run this body first and then say x plus plus. So x will become 1. 1 less than 5. Yes, correct. Run this loop again. So it will keep running 5 times and displaying the content which we have. Okay. So this is while and do while loop, right? There's another loop we have a for in. So this is called for each loop. So the for in statement is applied to loop through the elements of an array or through the properties of an object. So consider this object is having 5 value, 10 values. Okay. Now what will happen? First value will come here and do the job. Again second value will come, third value will come and do the job. So let us say if it is having 5 value, this guy will run 5 times. If it is a 15, it will run 15 times. So it depends on the how much values available to the object. So automatically it will start from the first to last. Okay. So I think you understood this for each loop here. Now see this a very good example to understand JavaScript here. So I have one HTML page, normal HTML page, and there we are trying to run one script here. So we are saying for loop I equal to 0, I less than 9, I plus plus, right? Inside that I'm writing document.write font size 0, right? First value is what? I value 0, Isaac software display. So it is displaying with 0 size. Next time, because this is my script, I'm writing inside the body, right? And then we say here language equal to JavaScript. You can also write here like type equal to text slash JavaScript. Both you can use, but this is a standard now, like text equal to type equal to text slash JavaScript. That is a MIME type you can use. Next time I will become 1 here, right? So it is 1 now. Display the size 1. Similarly 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So you are getting the more output here. So 9 times displaying. It will display 8, right? 0 to 8 only. Because once 9 become 9 less than 9, oh, close the loop. So loop will close. So with the help of loop, we are able to display this guy, right? Otherwise, you could have used H1, H2, H3 or H6, right? Good. So that's all about the basic idea of JavaScript. And the next session will be with pop-up boxes. What are the pop-up boxes we are having and how it work in JavaScript, that we'll discuss. That's all about